Hello again. My name's Joe. Thanks for watching my videos, or this video anyway. Hopefully it's informative. I like to think that what I put out there, the few that I have, are useful to somebody. And today is no exception. Today might be a little more interesting than some of my run-of-the-mill stuff. I have an air compressor, and it's pretty old. If you are to believe the paperwork that came with it, it was from 1959. Now I know it's at least before 1990 because that's about the time I received it from my father-in-law, and I have no reason to believe he wasn't the first owner. But it's a Craftsman 1/3 horse integral oilless diaphragm paint sprayer and carriage. There's not a lot to it. It's really operating instructions are the last page, and the middle two are simply parts diagram. And it lists the model number on the front, or 3 possible. Well, the carriage, which is underneath the stand, and then a number for the paint sprayer itself. They call it a paint sprayer. It's a small compressor. And of course, the number, if you look that up, it's nothing like it. So it's pretty old. Simpson Sears Limited in Canada, or Sears Roebuck and Company in the USA. Well, anyway, let me grab the camera and I'll tell you a little more about what we're doing today. So, I'll bring you in. So that's what we're looking at. And it's it needs some help, certainly. This is one problem, and then near the cord itself, the end of it, is another one. So I think I'm going to update that. And then it tells you have to regularly clean the air filter. So now I'm going to tackle that. That's inside here someplace. I'm probably going to give it a good bath. See if I can make a little sense out of this tag, and we'll go from there. Certainly the feet are not bad. I'm thinking, by the looks of this is one interesting carriage, I'll say that. These 2 pieces that come across are like 1/4-inch steel, so it was made to be bolted down or something. And in fact, it feels like there's nuts in there's flatheads that are maybe screwed in. I think that might need some repair anyway. So I'm going to clean it up. I'm guessing it was blue in the front and gray in the back. I have no idea, but certainly some red on the top. But I'm not so sure that's not overspray from something. Probably not going to open it up. It does work, so I'm not going to try to make it work better. I'm just going to try to clean it up a little. So let me get set up here and we'll see what we can do. Alright, I think we're ready to tackle this. First, I'm going to see just how well my Vandal mark remover, which is a citrus base, actually cleans some of this. Let it sit a little. It's on there pretty good. Of course, it's probably been on there 40 years. So maybe we'll just go right to taking it apart a little. So the first thing is I want to remove this cord. Did not have to pull that out all the way. So I will put it back in. Wow, that was crisp. So this was before they required grounded wires. And I'm going to put a 3-wire cord in it. Yeah, it wouldn't have been too long before I got shocked or shorted something out. The insulation actually came off right about where it was going through the cover. So that's gone. We're going to toss that. Next, we'll see if we can get to this air cleaner they talk about. I have to take this cover off. And apparently it only has 2 screws. Ugh. Well, could be worse. It's not too bad. So let's see. Now, according to this, keep air filter clean. The filter, number 36 in screen, kept clean at all times. Well, it's probably never been cleaned. Remove the felt and screen at frequent intervals. Wash and clean thinner. Remove the crankcase cover, number 31, which I did. Remove the fan using wrench furnished. Well, forget that. It looks like it's an Allen. So let me go grab a couple of Allens. Get my budget-friendly Allen wrenches. Wow. Wowee. I would not have expected that. Came right off. Well, so let me show you what I'm up against here. I'll slide you out of my holder for a minute. So, here's the engine. Oh, I'm sorry, motor. It's not an engine. Here's the motor, compressor, and it's got a little bit of clearance, but considering how long it's been running, not too bad. And it moves this whole thing in and out. And there's the screen in there. So I'm going to pick that out next. I don't know what I'm going to do about. I might just leave everything. I mean, I hate to leave things dirty, but short of taking it all apart and sticking it in a bath, I think I'm stuck. So we'll clean the filter and probably call it a day. Alright, so remove spring clip. Okay, squeeze 2 ears together. Oh, I did that, but it's... squeeze and pull a little and take this filter out. Holy mackerel. Well, it's stapled together. It's a piece of felt and 2 pieces of screen. Seems to go pretty good. Inside, the inlets, they seem pretty clean. I don't know what to make of this. I suppose I could clean it in clean thinner. I have paint thinner. I'd have to go outside, so perhaps I'll do that a little later. Now to tackle, oh, I think the wasps must have tried to build a nest in here, the mud wasps. There's a bunch of dirt in that edge. So let's go to taking this base off. At one point I was working on a rear distributor engine. I needed to get into that bolt, so I bent up one of my wrenches. That was a few decades ago. 2 bolts for the fan, for the carriage as they call it. Looking at this, I don't believe these pieces are supposed to be on here at all. Adds an awful lot of weight. I might just cut those right off. Free this up a little. Well, let's go see if I can do that on the bandsaw. Alright, well, that gets rid of those. Fair amount of heft. I suspect because it walks on me a lot, my father-in-law bolted it down someplace and didn't spare the steel. So now the question becomes, do I try to take these 4 little pieces off? And the answer is I don't know. I'm going to go try it on a different saw. Well, that's not going to work that well. So I think what I'm going to do is clamp it in the vise, take my little 4-inch grinder with a cutoff wheel and take out those pieces of weld. So we'll try that. That'll be off camera. See you in a minute. Okay, that worked a lot better. Bottom's clean, pretty much. I suppose I could file those down or something. Grind them down. Make it look like new. But what's the point with the rest of it being so old? They're not dangerous, they're not sharp, so we'll leave that. Now, at this point I could put it back together. But I am now remembering that if you run this for a while, that and then shut it off and try to start it warm, it's hung up a little. So I'm wondering if the back bearing could use a little oil. See what I'm getting into here. Nope, there's nuts on the other side. Okay. Oh yeah. All right. Ugh. That means I probably should have taken the nuts off instead of stressing these threaded rods. All right, so that's that. Now, all right, what else wants to come off with this? Nothing. Well, that's, well, the on-off switch. Okay, let me. Really? Huh. Well, it's not keyed. And it will probably spin all the way around. Oh, no. And as other people have said on their channels, this is not a how-to. This is how I'm going to do it. Well, that's interesting. This bearing has felt in it. Well, that's deteriorated. So it's meant to be lubricated at some point, but there's no good way of doing it. I'm a little leery of taking this cap off here. It's a bushing, it's not a bearing. But you can see that the bushing has an X in it and then a hole, which really means it's meant to be oiled at some point. Now, I'll bet they said it's lifetime oiled. I don't know if they expected it to live this life. But we'll see. So instead, I'm going to use this very beat up, well, either copper pipe cleaner or battery terminal cleaner. That will scratch it up. Let that soak for just a minute. And go see if I can find another brush. I would have preferred something a little firmer like a toothbrush. But this acid brush will do what I have to do, I guess. Well, that's cleaning up pretty good. Won't be perfect. That's fine. Okay. Oh, there it is. I was going to say, where's the brush? Well, the cleanup is purely cosmetic. I think that's certainly good enough. And yeah, you can definitely tell there was overspray on one side. And, oh, you know, paint thinner may take that off, but I'm not going to worry about it. It looks good. Good enough. What I'm going to try next is to pop this back cover off without destroying it. Well, I don't know exactly. It almost feels like sawdust. It's a little damp. And it has oil in it. Well, let's see if I have an oil can. Well, that seems to be all right. I don't think I can do much more. Without removing the counterweight and the piston and pulling out this out. When they say in for a dime, in for a dollar, maybe I'll pull this apart. Oh, a little bigger than that. Well, I guess we're at a bit of a standoff. Let's see. 15/16 of an inch in. Ooh. Well, guess that's not going to come off right away. Nope. Well, what am I thinking? I have parts list here. Let's see what else holds that on. Just that one set screw. So Well, the motor wants to come apart. It should be fine. Okay, so the stator's out. Huh. Well, at the risk of destroying it, I'm going to go get a bigger hammer. Huh. 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 No, that is... Well, it turns on the shaft a little. So you... Yeah, I can take a piece of wire, put it down where the flat on the shaft is, and see it come through, so I know there's no second set screw. The only thing I've managed to do so far, looking at the bearing in here, is to drive the whole thing back about 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch. Driven it out some more. No, well, we got a little more there. Well, the inner bearing is out. Yeah, it's dry. Don't know if you notice I'm using a lead hammer. I probably am not hurting anything on the shaft. Whoop. Wow. Rusted. Rusted on. Much better. Dry as a bone. Bearings aren't bad, but it does need oil. Now on somebody's YouTube channel, this is supposedly a sealed bearing, but I watched him take the seal out and sneak some oil in there. Well, that seal is probably not very good anymore because it's taken that oil down in between the seal. Yeah, that's good. Ugh. Boy, I can hear that now. Well, there are some crunchies in there, but I think we're going to live with that. We have so far. Wow. Yeah. Well, this piece has been rattling around in this bearing. Apparently, the bearing couldn't keep up. And it almost looks like this is a sleeve that goes over the casting. But it is in tough shape. I'll have to see if it is. Guess I'm going to have to find or make another sleeve. Well, maybe I can tell it. You know what? It's so rare that I have a parts list. I don't look. It does not go into detail on that. It sells that whole unit. This and this is one. And that's not going to be available. So I'll have to fabricate something, I guess. Made in the USA by SKF. So I am going to try to take that seal out. Well, I got under the seal. That's not what I wanted. Wow, that grease is pretty well solidified.
Well, that's the end of part one. I thought I was making a quick 15 or 20-minute video, and I'm out past a half an hour, and I haven't even started reassembly. That's the way it goes sometimes. So this will be part one, and in the next video, we'll start reassembling. The last thing you saw me do here was to attempt to salvage the 2 bearings. I decided that just wasn't worth it, so at the beginning of the next one you'll see that I'm using 2 new bearings. Well, you'll see 1 new bearing and then a bunch of machine work, and then I have to order the 2nd bearing. But that's it for now. I could cut out some more, but then it's just going to be a real jumble of stuff. I've already sped up several sections, which I hope isn't too disconcerting. So if you like it, stick around for part 2, which is in a couple of weeks. Give me some likes or comments or dislikes or subscribe, however you feel like doing it. It's good to know that people are at least watching some of this stuff. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in part 2 where I put it all back together. Thank you.